Nursery rhymes are told to all young children. They're jolly, easy to understand, and often educational. But some aren't quite as innocent as they seem. We tend to forget how much a tale can change as it's passed on from one century to the next. Peter Pumpkin Eater had a wife and couldn't keep her. He put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. Older versions of this rhyme suggest Peter was a real man. His wife was unfaithful to him, possibly a prostitute, and out of jealousy he murdered her and hid her body. Older sources tell he hid the corpse in a chimney instead of a pumpkin. It's thought the rhyme was told as a warning to young girls. Never be unfaithful or you might get murdered. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells, and pretty maids all in a row. The charming nature of this rhyme may lead you to believe otherwise, but its origin is incredibly dark. It refers to Mary Tudor, the Queen of England who went down in history as Bloody Mary. The line "How does your garden grow" describes the ever-growing number of Protestants she had executed. It's generally believed the last two lines refer to torture devices put to use against her victims. This origin is disputed amongst experts, but seems to be the most likely version. Ring a ring of roses, a pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. This rhyme has a number of possible origins, one of which is the Great Plague of London, which killed 15% of the population. The last line is said to refer to the burning of plague-infected corpses and to the plague's economic aftermath. Another possible origin is paganism. Being Christian for most of our history, pagan rituals were outlawed, but some pagan rituals were disguised as innocent dances. Goosey, goosey, gander, whither shall I wander? Upstairs and downstairs, and then in my lady's chamber. There I met an old man who wouldn't say his prayers, so I took him by his left leg and threw him down the stairs. This bizarre rhyme seems innocent until it suddenly doesn't. It's referring to the persecution of Catholics, which was a fact of life at one time. If caught praying in Latin rather than English, you may have been subjected to acts of violence. Catholic officials would hide within secret hiding places known as priest holes. Mary Ann Cotton, she's dead and she is rotten, lying in bed with her eyes wide open. Sing, what song should I sing? Mary Ann Cotton is tied up in string. As you would assume, this rhyme isn't of purely innocent origins. The woman described in it was a serial killer. She was executed in 1873 after being found guilty of 21 murders. She was especially notorious for murdering family members, including her 4 husbands and 11 children. Georgie, Porgie, Pudding and Pie kissed the girls and made them cry. When all the boys came out to play, Georgie Porgie ran away. There has been much debate over who the real Georgie Porgie was, and over what the rhyme means. I think the most likely candidate is King George IV. He was very plump, which explains the first line. The second line can be chalked up to him being an aggressive womanizer. People would even warn single women to stay away from him, as you can't really say no to a king. But he also wasn't known for treating women with respect. As for the third line, he was a physical coward. Satire of the day mocked him for his lack of bravery. Little boy blue, come blow your horn. The sheep's in the meadow, the cow's in the corn. But where is the boy who looks after the sheep? He's under a haystack, he's fast asleep. Will you wake him? No, not I. For if I do, he's sure to cry. Now this may seem a little far-fetched, but some claim this rhyme is to do with masturbation. I'd refer you to the 2nd and 8th lines. Another possible origin is an act of bestiality. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. This was a favorite of mine when I was a human child, but I had no idea it may have been inspired by the execution of Charles I. He was the unpopular king during the English Civil War. His authority was undermined by foreign wars and tax reforms, especially concerning a tax on drinks. After losing the war, the monarchy was abolished. Jack fell down and broke his crown. London Bridge is falling down. Falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. They say this rhyme originated as a warning in support of child sacrifice. For much of human history, children would be murdered and have their corpses buried at the foundations of new buildings. Bridges would almost always have this done. The ghost of the dead child would watch over the bridge. So in the rhyme, the bridge fell because it had no dead child at its foundations. It could have been based on a much older bridge and then adapted to fit London. Eenie, meenie, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If it hollers, let it go. Eenie, meenie, miny, mo. By far the most annoying nursery rhyme. And that is saying a lot. We can't know the exact origins of this one. We can, however, look at some much older and much darker versions of the rhyme. In the most notorious, the word tiger does not feature, but instead, this version dates to before the abolition of slavery and is thought to be related to North American folklore in some way. So that's the end of this video. If you want to support this channel, you can do so simply by leaving a like. And if you want more content from me, I have a second channel all about politics.